Welcome to the Facebook webinar. Today I want to go through and show you how different people view your profile, how to create different friends lists and then be able to separate your profile, and then also just running through the different privacy settings that we've got available within Facebook itself. How do people actually view your profile? How does the public view your profile? To be able to see that, if you go up and click on your name, so you come to your actual profile or timeline, up here you've got a little cog icon. If I drop this down, the first option I get is View As. If I click on View As, when that goes to this next screen, up the top, it actually says this is what your timeline looks like to the public. If you have a client that looks you up and you're not friends with them, this is where the public, this is how they would view your profile. So if you actually scroll down here, are you actually happy with what they're seeing on your profile? Or is there certain photos or posts or comments that you're like, oh crap, I actually didn't know that was there and I don't want them seeing? And that's what we're looking at today on how to stop that and separate it a little bit. Okay. So if you do look down here and you're like, oh my God, there's all this stuff that I didn't know that was public or I didn't want people to see, there's actually a really easy way on how you can go and limit those old posts. To limit old posts, what we can do is up the top of your screen, you should have this little padlock icon. If you click on that, you can then go down to see more settings. And over here on the default to privacy, who can see my stuff, there's one of the options here that says limit the audience for posts you've shared with friends of friends or public. So anytime previously that we have, like we just saw, any public posts or friends of friends, if we go over here and click limit past posts, there's more information about it, but if I just click limit old posts, I'm not going to do that. But that will actually change any of those public posts or posts previously back when Facebook first started, when a lot of the posts were going to friends of friends. It simply limits it, so only your friends, people that you're friends with, can see those posts. So that's something that you may even just want to do without even checking what the publics can see anyway, just so you're aware of, or you're making sure that everything is not public, it's just only to your friends. So that's one simple way of doing that. If you do that though, and you do go back and view as the public, and there happens to be, let's go down, it happens to be some photos like this that you're like, oh, it's still showing up, why is that showing up? Sometimes with the photos, you actually have to go into them manually to actually change who can see them. So to do that, you simply go up to your photos, and rather than go through all of your photos, the easiest way to do it would be to go to Albums. And here we can find the timeline photos. Actually, just let me redo that. Just because I'm still showing as the public, I'm just going in. So now I've just clicked on my profile. I've gone out of that viewing as the public, back to Photos, Albums. But I know that that photo was in Timeline Photos. So if I click on that, I can actually go down, find the photo. If I click on that, when I open up this photo, if I go into Edit, I then have the option here to change from the public to Friends, Only Me, or Custom, and I'm going to run through Custom shortly. So I can then change that to Friends if I wanted to, or in this instance, I'm happy for the public to see it, but yeah, if I did want to change it, I can. Done editing, and that's how you can change individual photos. Another way, if you do the view as the public and you're not happy with how it works, you can actually go to your activity log. So if I go to my profile, I've got activity log here. So if I click on that, I can go through everything that I've done, posted, commented, liked throughout the whole history that I've been on Facebook. Okay, and I can go all the way back here to when I basically probably first joined Facebook. If you find that, oh crap, here's a status that is showing to the public, so the little world indicates that it's showing to the public, what I can do is over here is I can click on this, and it's running just a little bit slow at the moment. Oh, there we go. So when this pops up, I can hide that from my timeline, or I can delete it. So again, it just means that if rather than hiding all of those previous public posts, if there were posts that you wanted public, you can go manually and just, I guess, change any of those previous ones you didn't want. All right, now going a little bit further, if you want to be able to separate your profile a lot more, and this will tie in with the privacy settings, what we can do is we can set up different friends lists within Facebook. It's similar to groups in Harcourts 1. So what I can do is go to my home screen. So when I get to my home screen or my news feed, over here on the left-hand side, you should see this friends section. If I click on more, this will actually show me now. You guys would have these ones here, so close friends, different areas, where you've worked. They're all automatically set up by Facebook, okay? All these other ones here, so like friends, chicks, associates, real estate agents, Harcourts people, all of these are friends lists that I've set up. And that means that I can put different friends in, and I can post to just those different people that are in those different friends lists. So that's what I want to run through now, and this will tie in with our privacy settings. So to set up a new list, up the top, I can click on Create List. I can name it whatever I want. So maybe I've got business contacts. And then members, I can either click down here and start typing any names that I want to put in there, and then I can go create, and then I might want to go back and add another one, and this time I might type friends, so more like my close friends of circle that I'm friends with outside of work. And I can just add those people in and create. Now, the way I just showed you, you've got to manually think, okay, who do I want to add to that list, and always think of their name. The easier way to go about that would be to go back to these lists, find those ones I just set up, so as an example, friends, and click on it. And then when I'm in there, over on the top right, I've got this manage list, or you even get list suggestions. So it might even be like, oh yeah, that's right, I want to add Thomas to this, and Danny, and Gav, and that. However, you can also go up to manage list and go edit list. And when I get this edit list, rather than having to remember or think of the names, I can actually choose to show all of my friends, and then I can manually go through and look at them and go, oh yeah, that's right, I want to add these people. And all you need to do is simply click on the name of them or the picture. And then finish, and that just adds those to the group. So sometimes it's easy to just run through when you can see the photos and see the names. Okay. Now, once we've actually got those friends lists set up, if you ever want to post like a status through either your home screen or going to your profile, when I come in and I type whatever I want to put in there, if I only want that to go to, say, my business contacts, what I can do is down the bottom here where it's got custom, or you might see yours might be defaulted to friends. If I drop that down, I can choose, do I want it to go to the public? Do I want it to go to friends only me, or custom? When I click on custom, it now pops up and I can say, well, who do I want to see this? So I can drop this box down here and I can go specific people or lists. I could actually manually type specific people, or that business contacts list I just set up, I can select that and I can save those changes. So now you can see if I hover over custom, it's only going to get posted to business contacts if I click on post. So that's how you can then separate each individual post, whether you want it to go to your friends or your business contacts or people within your office, however you want to do it. And if you're ever using a mobile device and using the Facebook mobile app, at the top of it, when you go to do a post, you'll see a section that says to, and you'll be able to do the exact same thing through the mobile app as well. All right, so now that we've got friends lists set up and we now know how to post to different friends, this then enables us to really set up our privacy settings a lot more detailed. So as an example, before I go through that, I'm just going to go back to view as. So this is how, as we said, the public view my profile. What I can do is over here, I can go view as a specific person. Now, if I go and do that, I can enter a friend's name, click on that, and this is how that particular friend sees my profile. So you can see here, I was at a Google seminar the other day, so I was tagged by Lauren, I was tagged in this photo by Paul, there's this map that someone in America posted Perth in Tassie, which is a bit silly. So there's a few things here that Chris Puller can see, or even more to highlight this, if I go to photos, you can see it's still looking at how Chris sees my profile. And these are all photos that I've been tagged in. And if I go across to albums, you can see there's quite a lot of different albums here. Now, if I change that view as to Mike Green, on my profile, he doesn't see that I was tagged at that conference the other day or tagged in that other photo. He's only seen certain posts that I've allowed him to see on my timeline. If I then go to photos, there's only a limited photos that he can see. And same if I go across to albums, there's only limited albums that he can see there. He can't see all of them. Okay? And that's how I can have the one profile, be friends with Mike, but not be worried about what my friends might tag me in over the weekend. So how to set all that up is we're going to go back up to this padlock area and back to see more settings. And then I'm going to run through these settings on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go up to security just to talk about this for a second. This is where you can set up how secure it is when you log in, or even you can see what sessions you're still logged into. So here I can say login notifications, get notified when it looks like someone else is trying to access your account. So here I can click on edit. And so basically what happens is if I log in via a different computer that I'm not logged in or I don't use frequently, it actually sends me an email and says, you have just logged in. If this wasn't you, please go and change your password and log out of that session. Okay, so I want to do that. Looks like you can also set up a text message or push notification. So if I click on that, I can save changes. Whenever you save any of these security, you generally have to put your password in to make sure that it's you that's made that change. Login approvals. This is where I can require a security code before accessing an account from a different browser that I haven't logged in from before. So what it will do is, if you enable that, it will then send an SMS to your phone where you then have to put a code in to access your account. Personally, I don't think anyone's really going to try and hack my account that much, but if you're worried about it, you can. You can also use your Facebook app to get security codes. So similar to this other one, but rather than go to your phone, you can use the Facebook app. You can set up and use special passwords to log in via your apps rather than your Facebook password. So again, we're just clicking on edit. And we can go into generate app passwords. I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to click on it. But otherwise, you could go and do that. This one here is a fairly new one, but you've got trusted contacts. So basically, you can pick friends that you can call to help to get back into your account if I get locked out. So you might get locked out if you completely forget your password for whatever reason. Or it looks like someone's hacked your account and Facebook has changed the password or disabled it for a while. What this means that I can go into edit. Now I've selected all mine, but otherwise you'd be able to click on choose selected contacts, and I can pick up between 3 and 5 of my friends who at any time, if I get locked out, I can send them a code that they can then call me on my phone, give me the code, and that will give me access back in. It's kind of similar to, let's say you forget your password and you go to whether on the login screen of pretty much any sort of site, there will be a link that says forgot password, and you can get a reset password sent to your email. It's kind of like the same thing, but it's happening within Facebook and to your friends. Okay. You can also view here which browsers you've saved and the ones you often use. So I can click edit, and here it shows me any computers that I've ever logged in on Facebook. And if I don't want them to show anymore, I can simply click these remove, and I can do save changes. All right, the last one here is where you're logged in. This is actually showing me, if I go into edit, what open sessions I've currently got. So this current session, I'm in Windows Chrome, so that's true. But it looks like here I'm also logged on to different Facebook for iPhones. So if this one here, I'm not sure what that is. This one I know because I accessed it yesterday, but this one I'm not sure. So you know what? I'm going to end that activity. So it's just a way, let's say you go and use a public, like a public internet cafe, you're using Facebook, you walk out and you're like, did I actually log out of that? I'm not sure if I did. You can find another computer, go into this section, and if you are still logged in, so I can check any of these others, I can go end activity, and I can completely shut those sessions down. Okay, so that's quite a handy feature, or even especially if you think someone has hacked your account, you can go in, you can end that activity, change your password, and that will fix all of that. Okay. All right. So that's the different security settings. Next, I'm going to go down to privacy. And this is around who can actually see the different bits and pieces that I've got on my profile. So first of all, who can see my stuff? Who can see my future posts? So at the moment, this is custom, and it's probably set to that business contacts, because when I actually went and tried to do a status, it's coming from there. So if I go into edit, there you go. So it comes from my business contacts, and that was because before, when I showed you here, if I wanted to do a different post, how I can change this, that's basically whatever you last set here, that's what's going to show up here under the future posts. This review all your posts and things you're tagged in, that's that activity log. So it's same as if I clicked my profile and clicked activity log, it's the same as going to that settings area and here. I've talked about that limit past posts. Down here though, who can contact me? So who can send me friend requests? If I go into edit, I can choose either everyone or friends of friends. There's now no longer an option to turn it off so no one can send you friend requests. Okay, so at least if you limited it to friends of friends, unless they're connected via a friend of yours, they're not going to be able to send you a friend request. So that's one way to limit that. Then whose message do I want filtered by my inbox? So just clicking on edit here, this is around when people try and send you an inbox message. So I've got mine set to basic filtering. And the reason for that is if personally I want other people, if they're trying to connect, to possibly be able to send me a message to connect with me. If you're not sure and you don't want that, you can put it to strict filtering. And what that'll do is anyone that it thinks that's not a friend of yours or is perhaps spamming or whatever the reason might be, it'll move it from your inbox to your other folder. So what I mean by that is if I go to my messages, so when I click messages, here's all of my normal inbox. However, up the top here, you've actually got an other inbox. So it's almost like a junk folder. So other is a junk folder similar to what Outlook might use. So that's where a lot of those other ones would come in if a non-friend of yours or potentially a client that's trying to connect, they might send you a message, it might go in there. So just be aware that you do have that other folder. And if you did want to set that security a little bit higher, you can come into here, edit, and change that to strict filtering. Down here is the who can look me up section. So here, who can look me up by the email address provided. So mine's set to everyone because I use my Harcourt's email address, and as I use it a lot to connect with business contacts. So I've got it set to everyone. However, I can edit that, and I've got the option to so only friends of friends or only my friends can actually look me up by my email address, which is if they did a search up here. I then got who can look me up by the phone number. Now my phone number is publicly listed anyway on my personal website, harcourts.com.au, and all the others. So I'm happy for anyone to look me up by my phone number. However, if you use perhaps a personal mobile linked to your account, you could go in and you could change it again, so either only friends of friends or only friends can see those. Okay. And this last one is around search engines. So do you want Google, Bing, Yahoo, all the major search engines to pick up your profile for people if they Google your name to see it? You might want that, or you might want to hide that. I've got it set to yes, but you can go into edit and I can untick this box which will disable that, which means that Google, Yahoo, Bing, all of those cannot show your profile. So just as an example, because I've got mine set to yes, if I go and Google my name, if I scroll down the page, this one here, this is my Facebook. So if someone clicked on that, they would be able to go and view my public profile. And again, that's going back to this view as. Okay, so that's just what I mean by do I want search engines to show that up or not. Okay, so that's up to you. All right, so that's the privacy. Now we go down to timeline and tagging. And this is the section when you're really worried about having those different friends lists set up. So who can add things to my timeline? So who can post on my timeline? I've got that set to friends, but you can change it to only me. Okay, generally you probably wouldn't want to do that because it means that none of your friends can ever go and post. But you know, sometimes when you have a friend that's their birthday and you can't post on their timeline, that's because they've come into here and changed the who can post on my timeline to only me. So that's how they've done that. This next one is view posts friends tag you in before they appear on your timeline. Now I've got that set to off because in a minute down here I'll show you that it's not so much of a worry of the way I've set it up. But if I go into edit, I can actually enable this, which what that means is anytime someone tries to tag you in a photo or a status, and that could be, you know, your dodgy mate that you're not even with that night, but pretends to tag you at the strippers, or tag you at a particular dodgy or seedy nightclub or something like that. If that happens, you get to approve it before that shows on your profile. Okay, so I've got that disabled, and I'll show you why in a minute. But you can always enable that to make sure that you have that option. All right, so who can see things on my timeline? Again, there's a link to that view as that we've gone through. But who can see posts you've been tagged in on your timeline? This is where I've got it set to custom. So if I go into edit, at the moment it's set to my friends or associates list or friends lists. So to change that, I can drop this down. I can choose everyone, which would make it public, friends of friends, friends, only me, or custom. So if I go into custom, this is where, again, I can choose specific people or lists, and I can choose which lists I want to see there. So this goes back to when I showed you my timeline and Mike Green couldn't see this or this photo. That's referring to this particular section here because Mike is not in my friends list or my associates friends list. Okay, so that's the reason why. And it could be that this is you have your friends, close friends, whatever, but you have that separate group for business contacts and you don't want them seeing that because the majority of time when you get tagged is from your actual friends outside of work. Okay, now just bear in mind there is all this don't share with. There, if I put, say, business contacts in there, the problem with doing this is if I've got, let's say a close friend of mine is also a business contact because we're in the same industry, by choosing to don't share with this group, even if that person is in friends, they're not going to see this because the don't share with overrides this one. I know this is getting quite technical, but this is sort of what we're here to go through. Now, by leaving that out, because I've only selected these groups, it will definitely only show to anyone in these particular friends lists. So there's no real major need to use this don't share with unless for whatever reason this specific post there was somebody particular in these groups that you didn't want to show up, and I could choose a particular person individually. Okay. All right, so that's the who can see posts I've been tagged in. Then this one here is who can see what others post on your timeline. Now again, we can change it to all those different options, but I've got that set to friends because often I might have a business contact that might post something around a particular question or whatever the case may be. So I kind of do want everyone to see that. And it might even be, in your instance, a client that had a really great experience and wants to post on your timeline and say, hey, Rob, thanks heaps for the training today. Or in your case, it might be thanks heaps for selling my house. Super happy with the result. Super friendly. Thanks heaps. You might want everybody to see that because, you know, ultimately, if there is any other potential clients, that's a really good thing to see. My friends know that I use my Facebook for both work and personal, so they generally know not to post anything dodgy on there. But if you think you've got a particular friend that might not, you know, follow that, then this is where you might want to change this to specific people or lists. Okay? So that's that area. Now down here, how can I manage tags, people add, and tagging suggestions? All right. So first of all, review tags people add to your own posts before they appear on Facebook. What this is referring to is if I, let's say I post a photo up and a friend of mine wants to go in and tag themselves in that. I've got that set to on, which means that if they go and tag themselves, I get to approve that they've tagged themselves before it goes up. I guess the only reason you might be concerned about it is if you did have, say, public posts that you did want public, you don't want some random member or some spamming account perhaps going in trying to tag themselves in that to increase their profile or, you know, to increase their exposure. You can say, no, I don't want that tag to be approved. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to enable that or disable it, but I've got that enabled. I find that handy. Most of the time it is real. It is a genuine friend that wants to tag themselves, but sometimes you might get some random that's not even in that photo try and tag themselves. Now this one here, when you're tagged in a post, who do you want to add to the audience? This is pretty much the same as who can see posts you've been tagged in on your timeline. So if I go to edit, I've set it the same to friends and associates by going custom and using that specific list and doing that. Okay, it sort of seems a little bit silly as to why they have two of the same, but just to go through how that shows up, if I go to my profile, so this was Lauren. Lauren the other day when I said we're at that seminar, Lauren posted this on her timeline, but she added Simon and myself, so she tagged us in that post. If I actually go up underneath Loz's name, I can see here, if I hover over that, this is Lauren's post. It's been shared with Lauren's friends, Simon's friends, and some of Rob's friends. So what that indicates is Lauren hasn't set this to go to any specific lists or anything. It goes to all of her friends. Same with Simon or SK. That will actually show to any of his friends because, again, he hasn't set this up. But if I actually click on this down arrow, you'll actually see that in more specific detail. So on my timeline, it's only showing to friends and associates because back where we were, here, when you're tagged in a post, who do I want to add to the audience? That's exactly where that's coming from. Okay. Now this last one, who sees tag suggestions? For those that didn't know, Facebook, and it's not just Facebook, there's quite a few sites out there, has facial recognition. So basically what happens is if a friend uploads a photo or a friend is looking at a particular photo and that Facebook thinks, that looks like Rob, it'll actually pop up saying, do you want to tag Rob in this photo? Sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it doesn't pick it up, but there has definitely been times where I've uploaded photos and it automatically recognizes there's a particular friend of mine, so I can go, yes, I want to tag them in that without having to manually tag them. It's pretty scary the way technology is going, but you can always go to no one. So if you want to turn off your facial recognition, you can set that to no one, and that means that it won't show up as a tag suggestion. Okay. All right, so that's the timeline and tagging, and this section is really, as I said, important to have those friends lists set up when using that. The next thing over here, blocking. This you might find quite handy. First of all, if you ever have anyone on Facebook that's just spamming the hell out of you, or is an ex that you don't want to see anything of, or you don't want them to see anything of you, or anything like that, you can go in and you can actually go and block particular users. You don't have to be friends with them. You can still block that particular user. Down here, you can block app invites. So if you have that annoying friend, and sorry Steve if you ever see this video, but if you have that annoying friend that keeps trying to send you Farmville invites and Texas Hold'em Poker and all these different apps that are on Facebook, you can block a whole person so they can't send you any of those. Okay. Otherwise, down here, also here you can block event invites. So I know that Harrison, he always sends me event invites because he's a DJ. Most of them I'm not interested in. And again, sorry Harrison if you watch this. I'm not going to block it because every now and again there is something that I am interested in, but it just means if you do have a friend, and it could even be a business contact, and I know I've got quite a lot of business contacts on Facebook, and they always try and invite me to different events. A lot of speakers that run their own events try and do that, so you can always block them from doing that. Or you can also block individual apps. So Farm Hero Saga, or one going around a lot at the moment is birthdays. So I can go in and I can click and I can just block any specific apps that I'm not even interested in, and I don't want to get any invites around that. Okay, so that's quite handy, and over time there's always going to be more and more apps that people develop that go viral, and you're going to keep getting those invites, but this is where you can go and you can block all those invites. Okay, so that's to do with the blocking there. One of the last things I want to run through is this notifications. If you get, anytime something happens on Facebook, if you get an email sent to your inbox and you find that really annoying, this is where you can turn that off. So under notifications, I can put, so on Facebook, all notifications sounds off. So if I go into view, I can actually have it, so anytime someone likes something or send, like often when I get an inbox, I get a message, but anytime someone likes or comments, I don't get a specific sound. But if I want to turn that on, I can click on that and it will play a sound for me, which means that you might be on a different website entirely doing whatever, but anytime something happens, it will send you an alert or it'll play a sound to let you know something's happened on Facebook. Personally, I don't want that, so I'm not going to set that. Down here under email, this is where we're going to edit, and I can change what notifications I get via email and what I don't. So first of all, you'll receive all notifications except the ones that I've unsubscribed from, or only notifications about your account, security, and privacy. So I've just got it to all notifications. However, when I go view all, these are all the different options that you could potentially get an email about. I've just gone, and unfortunately, you have to manually click on turn off, but I've turned that off for every single one, which means that I don't ever get an email around any new messages, any new likes, comments, or friend requests. I've got that completely turned off because I get enough emails. I don't want to have silly things that I'm already getting a notification about on Facebook. Okay. I can send push notifications. So, okay. So this is really just going back to your phone and enabling push notifications through your phone settings. So if anyone's got the Facebook app on their phone, often if there's an inbox message or someone might have commented on a post or sent you a friend request, it pops up on your screen and lets you know that that's happened. So this section will just go through how you can set that up on your phone. Here, what you get notified about. So any activity that involves me, I get notified about, okay, and I'm happy with that. That's what I want to happen. I can also set with this close friends activity. So that close friends group was set up by Facebook. So I can go and edit and I can choose, well, how do I want to get notified? On Facebook and email, on Facebook, or I can completely turn it off. If you just don't ever put any friends in that close friends list, it doesn't really apply because nothing's ever going to happen anyway. Tags. So do I want to get a notification when I'm tagged by anyone? Personally, I do, because if I set that to friends of friends or friends, but for whatever reason, some member of the public's been able to tag me, I want to know about that so I can either untag myself, delete it, mark it as spam or whatever. Okay, so I've got that set to anyone. Followers. If someone starts following you, so someone can be a member of the public and they can follow you. So as an example, I can go to a specific person that I'm not friends with. However, this person's turned it off. No, that person's got it turned off as well. All right, I can't find an example, but if I go to mine, people are able to actually follow me on my profile when they're not friends with me, but they can actually click follow and they'll follow any of my public posts. Okay, so when that happens, just going back to where we were, because I've got that on for everyone, if any member of the public, or it could be a client, follows my public post, I want to get notified about that. Okay, otherwise, again, we can go in and we can change that option there. Now, pages I manage. So I've turned it, I manage quite a few pages. I'm admin of quite a lot of pages. So what I've done is I've gone in here and I've got, so here, so this is a page I administer, and I get an email when something happens on that page. And you know what, I actually do want to turn that off because a couple of beats happening. So I can go down and I can turn it off. You can get notified on Facebook and email, Facebook, email, or off. That's the different options we've got. But otherwise, we can go down and we can turn this off, because what it does is it just either sends you that email or it will actually notify you onto your personal Facebook. But what I can do is when I go to the page itself, I still get that notification. It just means I don't need it showing on my personal Facebook or it's sent to my email. Group activity. Now, groups are good and they can be bad, I guess. If you get added to a group, you can always take yourself out of it. But if you are interested in that group, what you can do is you can change some of the settings around it. So one of the groups I administer is Melbourne Rollerblading, and that for us that's worked really well. It's enabled us to increase the number of skaters. We're getting more people into it, and we get more and more people out for the different skate sessions that we organise. So hopefully I want people to have that set on, because anytime someone posts in a group, everybody generally gets a notification, and that's the default. But if you've tagged to a group, so as an example, I was tagged to the Australian property manager community. I didn't want to see every single, or get a notification about every single post, because there's quite a lot that happens in that one every single day. So I was constantly getting notifications about that. So all I did is come up in here and change it from all posts to only friends that post in there I get a notification about. Or you can always turn them off. Okay, so I'm in quite a few different groups, and it's just a matter of going in and being able to turn them on or off, or, as I said, friends posts if you just want to see your different friends posts. Okay, so that's probably quite an important one for anyone that might be in a bunch of different groups. And then notification about app requests. I can go in there and I can choose to turn that on or off with the notifications. Okay, so that's relating to different apps that you've signed in through Facebook, or you've added to your profile through Facebook. Okay. Now, just the last thing I want to go through, if there is ever someone that's posted on your timeline that you don't want it to show up, or you want to remove the tag, when you come into the post itself, over on the right, we've got this drop down arrow. I can click on that and I can hide from timeline, or report or remove tag. So I might not need to report the post because it's not a bad thing, but I just don't necessarily want that tagged. So I can click on that and I just go, I want to remove the tag, and continue, and it'll just remove that and take it off my timeline. Or if you do like it, but so if I go down this one, I don't mind it. I can actually go down, I could delete the photo because Josh has actually posted that on my timeline, so I can delete it. Or I can just hide it from my timeline. So sometimes you might find an older post that you find really funny, but you don't want to necessarily delete it, but you just don't want others to be able to view it. So I can go and hide timeline. And that's because anyone can go back, and if I go to a friend of mine, anyone can always go back really easily to old posts on your timeline. So that's where you might just want to make sure you do go back and check some of this stuff to see, are you happy with what people can see there? Okay. So guys, that's everything that I had to go through and everything that's evolved around the different privacy settings. Thanks for joining the webinar, guys. I hope everyone got a lot out of it, and I'll chat to you all soon.